Welcome to the Health Conscious Living Podcast. I'm Dr. Gayle Myers, integrative medicine physician. The purpose of this show is to teach you the same framework I've used to help heal myself and hundreds of others. We'll cover lifestyle health habits, meditation, and mindset topics to unlock your potential for optimal living and thriving. Welcome to the Health Conscious Living Podcast. I'm Dr. Gayle Myers, and today's special guest is Celeste Mergens. Celeste is the author of the highly anticipated Power of Days, a story of resilience, dignity, and a fight for women's equity. That's coming out in October through Ben Bella Books. This book is as powerful as they come. And Celeste is the founder of Days for Girls, a global award-winning organization. And Days for Girls has reached more than 3 million women and girls in 145 countries. She has been named Conscious Company Global Impact Entrepreneur, Top 10 Women, and Women's Economic Forum's Woman of the Decade. Welcome, Celeste.
So delighted to be with you, Gayle.
Thank you, Celeste. I am excited to have you. I have loved your book. It is deeply moving, inspiring beyond words. And I would love for you to share with the audience. You are a writer, and you had a very successful writers' conference. And as you went on this journey of empowerment of women and global change, when did you know it was time to write the book? When did it speak to you?
I can't speak to one moment that happened in, but I can tell you it was awe-inspiring to watch the responses and the stories and the miracles that kept happening. So all along the way, I was taking note. I knew that their stories had to be shared. What I didn't know was that my story would be part of it. Honestly, when I first wrote it, I sent it to a friend who's an editor who was going to send back or make comments. She wanted it to go to a larger press. And I sent her the first version with a prologue about being homeless at age 5 and how a woman disdain for me, apparent disdain, really was a call to action to recognize we are not our circumstances. And then I skipped to, there I was in Kenya, and she said, call me. And then when I called her, she said, you don't get to do that. You don't get to say, there I was homeless at 5, now I'm in Kenya. You have to fill in the dots. And we need to know why you're the unique leader that you are. And I wrestled with different ways to tell it, really wanting to lean into their stories and recognizing that my story is part of the reason I had the mindset that we needed to come together, that it had to be honoring all of us, and that nothing is impossible. So, for the sake of the girls, my story is there too.
Your story is as powerful as theirs. And it's what it spoke when I read it. It spoke to me that in earlier podcast episodes, I talk about we're spiritual beings having a human experience to learn, grow, and gain wisdom and share our gifts. And you embody this through your life's journey, because as I was reading the difficult challenges that you faced growing up, I realized that this was preparing you as to be ready to step onto a global platform in such a way that you were able to speak to people and create change within them so that they could help create change for those who really needed it and need it in this world.
It's been amazing. You're absolutely right. And it's easy to see the hardships we face as just that, and perhaps identifying with them. And what I know for sure is that we are not our circumstances. We are the pathways we build from them. And that truly there's immense resilience that comes and immense gifts every single time. And I think that's why for me, gratitude is such a big deal, because I feel like it's a big strength in the pathway out. If you're stuck in the presence of pain, it is harder and takes longer to stand into your full resilience. If you can recognize the gifts, however tiny they are sometimes, and use that as your rope to start pulling out of it, that's a big deal. So this book really, I tried not to be gratuitous at all. I tried to just give the minimum and move on so that it wasn't traumatizing. And it's just important to me to show that rhythm: hardship, gratitude, opportunity; hardship, gratitude, strength; hardship, gratitude, more light, if that's what we choose. And that's amazing to me. And that's another reason to be grateful for life. Hardships turn into more ability if we choose that. And that's a miracle to me.
It truly is. And you're a miracle. I mean, as I continued to read through the book and all the different people that just appeared when you needed them, the everything came at a time. I mean, no, was it all, perfectly organized and everything just popped up? No, but it always appeared when you needed it. And the the other piece that struck me was that you had so much support through the whole journey. And one of the people who supported you the most was your husband. And
Yes.
so tell us about his journey in Days for Girls.
Well, he's amazing, right? And he's proof of the things that sometimes the thing we didn't ask for is just what we needed. Because when I met him, I'm like, I am just now breathing. And so I'm going to forge my own path, and I'm not ready for a relationship. And ta-da, I met the love of my life. And he has been phenomenal. There have been some health challenges that I had that anyone would have every right to say, "You are not going anywhere, girlfriend." And he instead would say, "If you feel like it's your next step, then I feel like it's your next step." That's phenomenal. If you read this story, thank you for reading it. You can see that he's a miracle. And in addition, he along the way has been just all in and supporting this, really wanting more of the beauty of people recognizing their strength and community. And he's been at my side for a lot of the travels. And what people didn't know was that I was facing a really difficult health challenge. And that was part of his why for being there. But he didn't just stay beside me. He stepped in with the communities. He likewise invited people to be the solution and recognized we weren't coming in to fix anything. We were coming in with an invitation. And to have both of us arm in arm with that consideration is huge. And when I was away, he took care of our family and made sure they were okay. So his role in this has been enormous. I have to tell you, we just got to do the recording of the audio for the audiobook about this. And everyone falls in love with him. They were like, "Can we meet him?" And so they invited him to read my biography at the end of the book and to do the questions for the question and answer. That's how much you can feel how important he has been to this movement.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Yes, he brings the masculine in because this is all so much feminine, and the importance of the awareness and the gift of what you did. So tell the audience a bit about that piece of it. That when you realized that these girls in this orphanage had nowhere to go or what to do during their menstrual cycles, that changed everything.
Oh, and truly, Dr. Gayle, an example of how again, you think you're on this path, this is where I'm going, and then all of a sudden life goes, and sometimes that's through a closed door. I was really happy doing a writers conference. I woke up every day thinking, I must be one of the luckiest women in the world. I have my family, I have our home, and I get to help creative individuals rise in connection with the world and build this amazing, juicy experience. And then all of a sudden that door was no longer the one I was supposed to go through. And only because of that, Days for Girls arose. So imagine I'm helping a friend and her foundation in Kenya. And on my way, every 6 months, I would stop by this orphanage we'd been introduced to and was doing what I could to create sustainable solutions that would help them be more self-sustaining. And then focused on that, I get a call that post-election violence, 500,000 people displaced in a very peaceful, historically peaceful country. And I get a call that there are up over 1,400 children in a place that barely fit 400, should have been like 214 reported children. And now they're out of food, and they have been for 2 days. As a woman who has experienced childhood hunger, I understand how you can't even concentrate. It's painful. Every thought tracks back to food. And I really wanted to help feed the children. And so we had used all our resources helping them, all our friends' resources. We'd done events. And now I'm told they need food. Well, personally understanding that, I hit my knees and was like, tell me what to do. Anything. I'm all in. Nothing came to me, not even a bad idea. And then I wake up at 2:30 in the morning with it going through my head. Have you asked what the girls are doing for feminine hygiene? I literally gasped, ran to the computer, emailed, didn't expect an immediate answer, and learned that they were sitting on pieces of cardboard for days, that they would wait in their room, not able to go to school or class, not able to take care of their needs, just sit for days. I was stunned. I felt embarrassed that I hadn't asked before, but we don't think about this. Feminine supplies, menstrual care supplies are in drawers and are at the store, and we don't think about that. Even though I personally had experienced not going with that, I had not asked, and learned when we arrived and we brought a washable solution, because I knew if they chose between food and pads, food wouldn't win, and that was an important choice. So how do they have something they could count on month after month? We made the first washable Days for Girls kit, and then when we were there teaching about what a period is and that they had the right to stand up for themselves and that they were important future leaders, they announced with big smiles, this group at the door with their little red uniforms and the cheers echoing off the tin roof, thank you so much, because before you came, we had to let them use us if we wanted to leave the room and go to class. And I'm hoping that didn't mean what I feared it meant. And it turned out they were being sexually exploited in exchange for a single disposable pad. For me, that moment, some have asked, well, why didn't you wait until the next time? Why did you hurry to make a solution in just 3.5 weeks? And to me, the first awareness that they were waiting in the room was urgent, just as food and other things we were working on them with were. And then learning that they were being exploited, that, for me, was the moment Days for Girls was born. I recognized that this wasn't just pads and days and health. This was dignity. This was strength. This was vital.
Absolutely. And you did it. I mean, that's the thing. That's where I was so struck that, everything you needed appeared. People came on, and like you said, they were so the volunteers were so overworking that you had to like slow them down because everyone was so passionate about it that came forth to help you. And that amplified throughout the world. So one woman changes the many, and then the many continue to change the global awareness and the paradigm that's shifting. We don't think about, in our country, we don't think about this. And I'm sure in Europe, you don't think about this condition that these girls were facing, and the the taboos that they were facing in so many different countries. Like, that was the norm. And so
Mhm.
what I so admire about you as a leader, and um, a brilliant woman communicator. I mean, you addressed the United Nations. You were in so many different countries talking to tribal leaders, and you had a way, like you said, of just listening and having them see and reflect that yes, there is a different way, and they can come up with that solution because they would come up with the solution instead of you saying to them, you really need to be doing this, this, and this to get it done. That's an art form, Celeste.
Well, I thank you. And that is actually proof of the power of we, what happens when we come together and when we invite others instead of shaming, blaming, blocking, telling. No one wants any of those things. But when we invite people to join in creating what they want, people support what they create. And I so strongly recognize that, having overcome so many issues in poverty and discrimination, and that I recognize that it truly is, we're only most effective when we engage with people from a place of curiosity and what can we do together. And I think during this time in our history, we are othering each other so much. Like, you're in this box, I'm in this box. Ah, you accidentally stepped in my box, like I've never seen in my lifetime. And I feel like it's one of the true dangers of on our planet right now, this othering we're doing to each other, because it creates silos. And we right now so need the power of all of us coming together, all of our unique gifts and strengths, all of our voices. And we are right now focused on the things we don't want, focused on the things we dislike, focused on the things we're afraid of, instead of focusing on what's possible. What would we love to have happen? What do we yearn for? Because I believe that thing that you love, that thing that you yearn for, that thing that you are just feeling called to, that thing is part of your walk. And your voice does matter there. And while there are people saying, you don't matter there, you don't stand there, do that, the truth is, we need to stand together. And we do that best when we honor and listen to each other and don't come in trying to tell, trying to shame, trying to blame. And I feel like this book and the story of Days for Girls is like the New York, New York of issues. If you can bring people talking about periods, one of the most prevalent taboos in the whole world, including where we live. What do homeless women do? What do foster girls do for products? And bring it up and see what happens. It is such an unfortunately prevalent taboo. So if you can bring arm to arm union to create a shift as big as this one is, then you can do anything. And I think that is one of the important gifts of this book, that if we come together out of what we hope to create, instead of fear, instead of shame, instead of blame, we can do miracles. And that's the opportunity of this day. And that's the challenge of our day.
Absolutely. And I love one of your lines that I had to speak to, and that is your tagline that you're building a better surfboard while surfing world-class 30-foot waves. And that speaks to what we are going through now in our country, and on the planet. And you were able to raise awareness that affects 50% of the planet. Now, that is a mission that is going to change the paradigm for all of us. Because, like you said in your TED talk, no periods, no people.
Yes. So what are we afraid of? Because without periods, none of us would be here.
That's right.
I love Dr. Gayle. I keep saying Gayle because I adore you. So that's just personally adoring you. Um, the the thing is that there are a lot of things that are hard to change in our world, but this isn't one of them. This is something we can bring menstrual equity to our planet in this lifetime. We weren't able to be there for the suffragettes, but this one's on our watch, and we can do it and give back productivity, dignity, opportunity, strength for whole communities and our world. Yes, all we have to do is decide we're not going to carry this shame, right? We're going to step up. We're going to use our voice and not be afraid of periods. That's a big exchange for a small action. And I'm really grateful that this has proved to be something that creates such a lever for reducing poverty and stigma and reducing violence in communities.
Yes. And the freedom that it is giving women and men, because they don't have to be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the part where there was one of the young men talking, one of the teachers talking about what he went through going through puberty himself and the confusion because nobody was talking to him. So it goes both ways. It's just this particular mission is imperative because, like you said, over 50% of the planet are women. And
Estimated over 500 million women and girls and people with periods do not have what they need. Wow. How do we do that? Because we're not willing to talk about it? The great news is we're talking about it today. More and more organizations, countries, people. It's really beautiful. We got this together.
and your book is something that they can hold and they can listen to the audiobook in your voice and really get the message. And I think there are different messages at different levels throughout the book.
I hope so.
Definitely. I'm not gonna spoil it, but definitely as the reader holds the book and reads and turns the pages and I can't wait to listen to you read it. It is such a life changer. It changes, even though we've had this privilege in this country, we don't even think about it. It's not an awareness. There's a lot we need to be paying attention to. And that speaks to each one of us. And it's an inspiration to be honor what we truly know and help others in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So leaping forward in time, you your vision as the mother who birthed and led Days for Girls, this nonprofit that has touched 3 million women and girls and countries and changed taboos and changed awareness and changed cultural um, history. That's really what you've been doing, and that what we're all a part of as a result of you and your book and your organization and the global awareness and the education, because knowing how periods are related to having babies, is extremely important. And we are not aware, or maybe we just haven't been paying attention that this information isn't really out there in a lot of places on the planet. So as this changes, you're not only educating and healing, but you're empowering the golden door of freedom for women and men. So my question to you as we finish up is, what is your goal for the power of Day's book?
Okay, I'll tell you my secret inside hope. I at first was like, oh, if they think it can be a national bestseller, if it's New York Times bestseller, that's going to reach another million. I have to do that. I have to push this rock. And then I recognize that the gift in this book isn't just like Days for Girls, isn't about me. It's about what happens when we come together. It's about the strength we can have together. It's about the stories of all of us. And so just like that, this book really is my opportunity to kind of hold a giant dandelion wisp and hold the stem and allow the beauty and life and love and God and all the connections to just take it where it needs to go, to the people that need to receive it, that I don't have to drag it or push it. It's going to go where it needs to go. And that is amazing to me because I trust that. I think there are gifts in here for people to recognize that wounds they've carried, they can drop now. I think there are opportunities in this book for people to recognize that the wish they have to change something in the world is one they can accomplish. And they don't have to take the lead. It's just important to do the piece that calls to you. With Days for Girls, if you made a kit, that kit can last, we're understanding, we say 2 to 3 years, but we have reports up to 6 years. And the education gets passed from person to person. So you changed someone's life. And that's amazing. Sometimes we set standards for ourselves. You have to do this much. And the truth is, if you trust and just keep showing up where you feel called to stand, speaking where you feel called to speak, loving where you feel called to love, just do the things that call to you. You are making a difference. If that's a smile for someone who needed it that day because maybe they were about to make a life-ending choice, if it's you just don't know. And I think that's one of the points. I hope people go away with hope, even though there's hard stories. And I have a secret inside wish, and that is, I feel like civil war can happen anywhere. That some of the great catastrophes we've seen in our history happen in communities that may not have seen it coming. And right now, all over our planet, like I said earlier, we have these otherness pools happening, divisions. And to me, I feel a pulse of danger in them. So I hope that people see in this opportunity to turn away from that choice, opportunity to turn to, no, I'm going to ask the person that I'm being invited to hate, and I'm going to ask them for more understanding of what they're seeing. And we're going to come together in the places we have connection, and we're going to build the future we want. We're not going to do and follow the hate mongering. I hope that is a heartbeat that comes of this book. I yearn for the connection that is possible. I fear that right now we're dancing on some very hot flames of division, and I'm excited for conversations, just like period conversations can feel difficult for some, that they're so vital. More inclusive conversations that are about how can we come together? How can we be about the beauty we want to create in the world?
Beautiful. Thank you. So my hope and recommendation is get this book, read it, share it. Share it with your daughters, your mother, your sisters, your friends, the men in your life, and let them know. And I would love to see book clubs, just women and men getting together and reading this, because this book, it's powerful. There are some challenging parts, and but understanding that, like you said in the beginning, you get through, and then you take that difficult, traumatic experience and turn it into wisdom and a way to make positive change as a result of it instead of being defined by it. It's utilized to catapult empowerment, change, and a better world. So this book is about creating a better world, and it starts within us and with each of us. So thank you so much, Celeste. And it's coming out on Amazon. What date?
Everywhere that you order books, this book is available. And you can pre-order it and be part of the leap. Won't it be fun to watch how much of a movement we create together? So pre-ordering it not only creates that momentum, but it also, part of the proceeds go to Days for Girls. So this is a change maker before you even open the pages.
That's right. So yes, definitely pre-order the book, and we will put that in the show notes. And we so look forward to the day that we are reading it and sharing it. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you.
I hope today's episode helped you adopt more tools to implement daily. Choose change, look within, see your inner wisdom already exists, and live your optimal health. If this inspires you, I invite you to share this on your favorite social platform, share it with a friend, or just help us spread the importance of health-conscious living. For more health lifestyle tips, check out healthconsciousinc.com, sign up for my email, and follow me at Gayle Myers MD on Instagram. Hit the subscribe button. I'd love for you to give a 5-star review and leave your comments or questions. Until next week, rejoice in the health that you have.